Double-barreled offensive by Democrats today over that Chris Christie mortgage loan. Congressman Bill Pascrell says it's time Washington investigate the Republican gubernatorial candidate. Pascrell wants a probe to look into Christie's financial arrangement with the second-in-command at the U.S. Attorney's Office, saying the former U.S. Attorney's public obligations are conflicting with his personal life. Also today, the Democratic candidate for lieutenant governor, State Senator Loretta Weinberg, spoke out about Christie's failure to disclose the loan that she considers a conflict of interest. She calls the actions unacceptable and inappropriate. Now, State House correspondent Zachary Fink is here with us now on the story that you broke earlier this week. Zach.
Thank you, Jim. Some new developments in the Chris Christie story we first brought to you on Monday. Democrats went on the attack today. We heard from a Democratic congressman and the Democratic lieutenant governor candidate. Both raised questions about Christie's relationship with the U.S. Attorney's Office now that he is a partisan candidate for governor. And late today, the state Democratic chairman, Assemblyman Joe Cryan, filed an Election Law Enforcement Commission, or ELEC, complaint against Christie for failing to disclose the loan in last April's filing. Congressman Bill Pascrell is calling for a federal investigation of Chris Christie. At issue is the $46,000 second mortgage he took out as a loan for a subordinate in the U.S. Attorney's Office 2 years ago. Christie failed to report the 5.5% interest he was making on the loan, omitting it from federal and state financial disclosure forms, as well as his tax return.
When you're talking about possible conflicts of interest, you're talking about perceptions of conflict of interest, and that's what folks have to avoid. In my position, or particularly in a position where you're supposedly enforcing the law.
Yesterday, Christie admitted that he had made a mistake by not reporting the income, but said it was simply an oversight. He proceeded to explain that all of those reports would soon be amended, including his 2007 tax return.
He got a check every single month in the mail. It's kind of hard to overlook. He thinks it's personally fine, but he didn't think it was personally fine when he went after other people who didn't put things on their disclosure forms. That is the law in the state of New Jersey, and you can't say the former U.S. attorney to say, gee, I forgot. It's just unacceptable.
Christie was in Toms River this afternoon for a campaign event with seniors. His campaign staff told us he would not be available today to answer reporters' questions. Kim Guadagno, Christie's running mate, was supposed to appear with Weinberg at this State House Women's Good Government event this morning, but she never showed. Christie has maintained that his mortgage arrangement with Michelle Brown, currently the #2 person in the U.S. Attorney's Office, is completely above board. Through the campaign, we asked the Republican candidate at what point he feels the loan should be refinanced. For example, would it still be appropriate for her to owe him money if he is elected governor?
I think he should think about that, because having that kind of a relationship with a person, even under the best of intentions, does create a special relationship that then makes it difficult to be objective. That's why we say avoid those kinds of situations.
I think that there is something very inappropriate about a political candidate having an ongoing financial relationship with the #2 person in the current U.S. Attorney's Office. I think that leads to a perception, might not be reality, but a perception that really should be ended.
For months, Democrats have been accusing Christie of using his connections at the U.S. Attorney's Office to promote his candidacy. For example, earlier this year, Democratic Congressman Frank Pallone questioned why Michelle Brown attended a January function which touched on Christie's political future. More recently, the Corzine campaign claimed that Christie may have violated federal law when Christie spoke to Karl Rove on the phone in 2006 about a possible run for governor. Some Democrats have also questioned whether Christie knew about who was being targeted in a corruption sweep last month that netted 44 people, including key Democratic operatives in Hudson County. And yesterday it was reported that acting U.S. Attorney Ralph Mara is under investigation for comments he made after those arrests, which may have been beneficial to Christie. Christie claims that Mara and the, quote, entire front office knew about his loan to Brown. Today, the liberal blog Firedog Lake posted this video of Christie from last February, where he talks about hiring people in that front office if elected governor.
We're going to ferret out waste and fraud and abuse in the government. I think you know I'll do that better than anybody. I've got a group of assistant U.S. attorneys sitting down in New York still doing their job, but let me tell you, they're watching the newspapers. And after we win this election, I'm going to take a whole group of them to Trenton with me and put them in every one of the departments. Because they saw a lot of waste and abuse that we investigated while we were in the U.S. Attorney's Office that didn't rise to the level of the crime. So I told them the good news is when we get to Trenton, we don't have to worry about beyond a reasonable doubt anymore.
Well, it seems strange putting the cart before the horse, so to speak. I know if I was the governor, I would want people around me that are loyal. But the question is that these folks are in law enforcement. You're talking about a different animal here.
Once again, Christie did not speak with the press today, and we never got direct clarification over whether he would change the terms of the loan if elected governor. A spokesperson for the campaign said that Christie was very clear yesterday when he said he does not see a conflict. And late today, the Corzine campaign issued a statement calling for action on its Freedom of Information request they had previously filed for information regarding Michelle Brown, specifically, Jim, her salary and promotion dates.
All right. Thank you, Zach.